This video is for lesson 11.1. So if you have not already done the Spark, go ahead and try out this Spark about the Robinsons family and use this graph, and then come back and see how I thought about that. So our Spark tells us, let me move me up here out of the way. So it tells us that the Robinson family's home is located at 3-7. So we 3-7. So on this grid, I notice it's counting by 2, 4, 6, 8. So halfway between 2 and 4 is 3. So over 3, up 7 is their home. So that's shown here. And these are in miles. And they begin their vacation by leaving home and driving to a restaurant located at 3-1. So then they drive to the restaurant here over 3, up 1. Then from the restaurant, the family drives to a campground located 5 miles due west. That just means straight west of the restaurant. So we just want to go straight 5 miles to the west to get to their campground. After spending 5 days at the campground, the family drives 6 miles due south. So then they're going to go 6 miles straight south to visit their grandparents. What are the coordinates of the campground and their grandparents' home? So we want to go 5 units west or to the left of the restaurant. So here is 1 unit, 2, 3, and I'm cutting each of these in half because this goes to 2, 1, 0. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like the campground is here at -2. So we're going to the left of this number line, -2, and then up 1. So the campground is at -2, 1. Okay, so our campground is here at -2, 1. And then we want to go 6 miles straight south. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. So we're going over to, so grandparents' house is over to -2. We still are going to the left. And then we're going down, which is also in the negatives, to -5. So our campground is over here in this quadrant, which we're going to talk more about today. And then they went down into the next quadrant to get to their grandparents' home. So this one was a little trickier because we weren't just going over one whole block here and square, because each square was cut into 2 pieces. So we had to count each square 2 times as we did that. So go ahead and finish your Spark if you have not already done that, and then come back when you are ready to do task 1. So on before we start on task 1, I want to talk about what our goals are for today. So we want to identify and graph rational numbers. If you think back all the way to the beginning of the year, we talked about rational numbers. Those are positives, negatives, decimals, fractions. So almost every type of number is a rational number. So fractions and decimals that end, it's like 0.3 is a rational number. But if it went 0.33333, like 729 and 85, 32, and just was random, that's not a rational number. So rational numbers are decimals, fractions, whole numbers, positive or negative. They're nice ones. And so we want to be able to graph those and find them in all 4 quadrants on the coordinate plane. So we've spent a lot of time practicing in this first quadrant here, where all of the numbers are over and up, positive, positive. We're going to be working in all 4 of these today. So at the end of this, if you can put them on the coordinate grid and identify them in all 4, then you are a 4. If you can place them on the grid, or sorry, that's a 3. If you can put them on there and find them, that's a 3. If you can use all 4 quadrants, put them on the axis, the X or the Y, and explain to somebody else, that's a 4. So the difference here is these axes, explaining. If you can place them just in the first quadrant, the over and up, like we've been using, that's a 2. And then if you can do that with help, that's a 1. So our goal here today is to be able to use all 4 of these quadrants here. So a coordinate plane is formed when these intersections of by the 2 number lines. So we have our x-axis that goes across and our y-axis going up and down. Our origin is always where it starts, and that is 0, 0. That's our origin every time. We always want to start from 0, 0. Then it's divided into 4 pieces. Talked about quadrilaterals yesterday. Quad means 4. So here we have these 4 quadrants. So let's take a closer look at what happens when we use this first quadrant. We have to go over to the right. We know number lines to the right of 0 are positive, and then we went up is also positive. So every time we're working with quadrant 1, we are always going to have a positive x and a positive y. Over and up, positive, positive. And then we go around counterclockwise to quadrant 2. So we go over, but this time it's to the left of 0, which is a smaller number, and a negative number. So we go negative, and then we have to go up here, which is still positive. So our x is going to be negative, but our y is positive. Negative, positive. So, and every time we still go over and then up or down. Think of it like your elevator. You have to walk that same floor to get to your elevator. Then the elevator can take you up or down. So here we have quadrant 3. So to get to quadrant 3, we go to the left, which is negative, and then down, which is also negative. So when we're here in quadrant 3, 1, 2, 3, we'll have a negative x and a negative y. And then our last quadrant here goes over to the right, which is positive, and then down, which is negative. So positive, negative. So don't worry, we're going to practice a lot of these, but we always want to go over, then up or down. So let's look at number 1 here. I'm using a different program, and I'm not quite sure where I should put my head here, where it's not in the way. So we want to describe how to get to each point and then what is the ordered pair. So if we're doing A, so notice here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So every unit is 1, but it's just showing us that it's counting by 2s. There's just not so many things on our number line. So we need to go over 3. So we went to the right 3, and then we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A is going to be over 3, up 5. We can see this is quadrant 1 here, positive, positive. So now we have B, so we need to go to the left. So this is negative 1, and then up to positive 4. So it's just the 2 number lines. So positive, positive, negative, negative. So there's B. To get to C, it looks like we go to the left, negative 2. So C is negative 2. And then we went down on this number line to negative 4. So in C, quadrant 3, we have negative, negative. And then D, we want to go over 3 and then down 1, 2, 3. So it's over positive 3 and then down negative 3. So this is quadrant 4. So each of these, we've got a positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, negative, and then positive, negative. So every time over, left or right, then we go up or down. So now we want to look at these at quadrant 2, and we want to describe what type of values that this has. So if I'm trying to plot anything in this quadrant here, I have to go to the left, which is negative. So X is going to be negative. And then we go up into the positives. So Y is going to be a positive number. So anytime we're using this quadrant, we go negative, then positive. So go ahead and complete task 1 and then come back when you are ready to do task 2. Task 2 tells us that a city mayor wants to build a fence around a community garden. The fence will be in the shape of a rectangle, so that's important to note. So remember, rectangle has 4 right angles. 3 fence posts are already placed here at A, B, and C. So these are the 3 of the corners. So we need to find the 4th one. The 4th fence post will be placed at point D, which is not shown. So what are the ordered pairs for each point, and where should D go? First, we want to look here. Where is A? Over 4, up 4. So here we have 4, 4. So B, I notice, is on that same line. They should both end in the same number. So we go start at the origin, go over to the left, -3, up 4. So this time over -3, up 4. So I noticed their Y's are the same. They both went up the same distance here. These are the straight line here. I also noticed B and C are in line with each other. So this one was over -3. So C is also over -3. And then to get down to the fence post, we went -2. So I need this to be in line with A and C. So we've got to connect C and A following these straight lines. So where they intersect is going to be where D is. So D goes over 4 and then down -2. Over 4 to the positive, to the right, and then down into the negatives, -2. So go ahead and complete task 2 and come back when you are ready to do task 3. Task 3 tells us that coordinates for points graphed on a coordinate plane can be any rational number, which we discussed earlier, including decimals. So notice on this chart, we are counting in decimals here instead of whole numbers. So the first thing we want to do is find the intervals that it's counting by. So I'm notice here, it skipped 1 and here's 0.2. It skipped 1, 0.4, so 2/10, 4/10 over here would be 6/10. So in between here, every other one, we've got our even numbers. So here would be 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. So each time it shows us the mark for a tenth and then it counts by 2/10. So let's go ahead and graph these on here. So we're going to do G is -0.3. So we're going over here is 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. And then we have up 4/10. This is positive 4/10. We want to go up. So we're here at -3/10, up 1, 2, 3, 4/10. So right there is where we have G. So H is a positive 4/10 and then a positive 1/10. So it's telling me to go positive, positive. So over to 4/10, up to 1/10. There is H. And then J, we have 2/10, so positive 2/10 to the right, and then negative, so we're going to go down 5/10. So over 2/10, and then down 5/10. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10, and here is J. What quadrant are each of these located in? So we always start here, and our positive, positive is 1. And then we work our way around 2, 3, 4. The next part of this task asks us to graph K. So this time we have a different scale and intervals here. So we want to find 1.5. So I can see here's 1, here's 2. What do we know about 0.5? We know that 0.5 is half of something. If I have 50 cents, that's half of a dollar. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to get from 1 to 2. I want to find the middle. So right here is over 1.5, halfway between 1 and 2. And then we've got a negative. So we're going to go down 1.75. Think about this as money. How many quarters is 75 cents? That is 3. And I notice here it has 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So I can break that into thirds or fourths and find 3/4 of that. So over 1.5, halfway between. Then I need to go down to -1, and then another. Here's 25, 50, whoops, and 75. So here's over 1, down -1.75, and we're going to call that one K. So then remember, our quadrants start here at 1, 2, 3, 4, and just work their way around. So go ahead and complete task 3 and come back when you are ready to do task 4. Task 4 tells us that coordinates for points graphed on a coordinate plane can be any rational number, positives, negatives, decimals, and fractions. So we're going to look at these fractions here. So first we need to know, what is this denominator? So we don't want to count the lines. We want to count the spaces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So each of these are counting by fourths. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So as we are graphing these, we want to keep in mind that this is counting by fourths. So our first one is 1.5. But we just said we're working in quarters. So we need to turn 1.5 into fourths. So I'm going to erase that denominator there, or that numerator, so we can come up with our new one. So how do I get from 2 to 4? We times by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. So this one is really 1 2/4. Half of 4 is 2. So we want to go over 1 whole and a half, 1 2/4. And then we're going down -3/4. So 1 1/4, 2/4. And then I'm going down 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So right here we have P. So next we are going to do Q. Over, so it's negative to the left of 0, 1 1/4. So over to 1 and 1 more fourth. And then we're going to go down 1 whole unit. So all the way to 1, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, but it's a -1. We had to go down on this number line. So here is Q. And then our last one we're going to do today is R, and we're at -1/2. We have learned that a half is 2/4. So we need to go to the left to the negatives, 1/4, 2/4, and then up 1 whole and 1 more fourth, 1 1/4. And here is R. So remember, our quadrants always start with this positive, positive. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and complete task 4. And then if you have any other questions or need help with your homework, please let me know. There's also a video to watch in Canvas for that. Then when you are filling out your work completion, think about, can you use all 4 quadrants, or are you not maybe quite there yet. You're maybe a 2.5 or a 2. Or can you use them and explain to somebody else how to use the coordinate grid? So as you're doing that, think about, where are you on our scale today? Hey, let me know if you need any other help.